the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off now. There's just a little bit of Christmas music for the beginning of this episode of Simply Stated. I do a full disclosure. Last week's episode I accidentally titled as episode 10. It was originally going to be in the ghost stories segment of the special Simply Stated series, and I ended up actually putting it in with the Simply Stated series. So it's actually episode it actually would have been episode 3. This week is episode 4. And I'm filling this out my car today because with my little like orchid because sometimes people get upset about my stuff. So I ended up just trying to find the best and most quietest place to film where I won't be disturbed, and that kind of changes location. So today it's my car. It would be nice if people were less trashy about all this, but the reality is that the issues with the Chinese and Russian governments running companies in the US and especially in WWE and Booz Allen Hamilton harassing US citizens and trying to interfere with even our right to work is very real. That's why I was labor trafficked for over 30 years of my life and still deal with harassment today. Unfortunately, I wish it would go away as an issue, but it hasn't really entirely. As many of you know, I was trained to be an artist and a performer and was recognized by a lot of people in the industry who are established. But, I didn't have money. I had my money from medical school stolen at Luther College. And then I tried to go to nursing school famously in Georgetown in 2019. As late as 2019, I had problems with people on the staff. They're harassing me and trying to demand that I go back to work for free for JLo. So, and for the industry, for people in it who were part of the FSB of Russia, the KGB. So, and that includes today's story, which is actually going to be focusing on Jay-Z and Beyonce and their relationship. It's important to understand, as I detailed in the past, that I had detailed that Beyonce is a known labor trafficker. She's had a number of reports, investigations done to her by the U.S. government and other world governments. She's known for forcing people to perform in her place and photoshopping her face on them. I today actually doubt that she even sings, and also doubt that her actual body even looks the way it's presented, having known JLo and what she actually looks like in person. I mean, JLo shows up at shows and sometimes she's got, or, events and has like my boobs photoshopped in her body, and the next day she's got like an A cup photoshopped in her body. Just an example. It's totally ridiculous. There was the picture of her up today, talking about how she's in fabulous shape at age 55 and it looked like a man. And she does look very much like a man actually in person. She's a petite Albanian woman, not Puerto Rican at all, and a very fit runner. But, as I famously described, she had a man perform in her place at the Super Bowl for that whole stripper pole scene. And then that guy went to perform on America's Got Talent and was recognized by Simon Cowell for his abilities. I'm not here to say that Simon Cowell is some kind of a saint or a hero, because he's used a lot of material and based a lot of his shows around supposedly exposing these people, but it has yet to mean remuneration, financial remuneration for me, or any kind of a settlement. So, as long as those of us who've been trafficked haven't actually been paid for our work or recognized, I'm going to withhold any kind of support for him. The main situation with Jay-Z is that this week, the story broke in the news that he raped a 13-year-old girl 2 decades ago with P. Diddy. And it's hard to know what the rest of the details, except that there's been a lot of analysis already in the news that she's not somebody who's probably eligible to get a settlement because it's been so long. But there is the very real reality there that he could still be charged for felony in that event, and in this case, and could still serve time for it, actually. I am completely worn down. My voice is a little craggy at this point, even. So as I say all this, my point is that, Beyonce has a long history of labor trafficking. She's a really nasty person. She's managed by Buffalo Bill. Okay. She's part of his network. She's responsible for the 2 women I saw down in Charlottesville who were injured and who actually died. Okay. They both lost their limbs and their ability to have their brains function. And one chose to go DAR, and I think the other one was eventually just taken off life support by her family. But the point is that they directly were responsible for these women losing their limbs and their brains. And there's been a number of situations where they've had women attacked. I was raped and beaten by people that represent the government of Russia and their network, looking for more material for Beyonce, JLo, Dua Lipa, just demanding more material, more for Endeavor WME and their network of people. more free material and expecting me to give up my life and time after over 30 years of not being paid to continue to produce material for them that I was never going to be paid for, simply because in the past I had been scared and raped and beaten, or even had threats made against my mom. And then after they killed my mom, I really didn't care. The point about it is that there's no reason to think that Beyonce would be with a upright, decent man. So unless Jay-Z is a victim of abuse and needs help, well, if that's actually the case, then he needs to actually make that case, because right now that's the only case he could possibly make for being with Beyonce. Other than that, he is literally just a third piece of trash, just like Beyonce. And 50 Cent, the rapper, has come out this week and said, as far as public opinion, the court of public opinion goes, he's done. That's true. I saw the news this week, supposedly, that Jay-Z and Beyonce's daughter was allowed to... I don't understand what this was even about. She was supposedly at some event with Beyonce in this big dress, and then Jay-Z showed up in a tux, and it was supposedly somehow tied to The Lion King, and it was some kind of special production. I thought it was at least like a theater production, but I think it's actually just a film of some kind. Whatever it was some production tied loosely to The Lion King. And what I want to say about this is that, their children need to think very seriously about cutting ties and getting away from both of them, if those are even actually their kids. Because with the network of people that Beyonce and Jay-Z come from, I would assume the children were probably stolen from somebody else. Because that's the kind of people that they are. They're in the network with Meghan Markle and J-Lo and a long list of people that have notoriously stolen children from other women. Or men and women, and said that they were their own. So what I'm curious to see is how long it takes for, their supposed offspring to just simply want the hell away from them. That might be the bigger question, because as far as Jay-Z and Beyonce goes, she's hinted at filing for divorce this year, but Jay-Z has also hinted at it, and the formal news that Beyonce was looking at divorce broke in September. But if anything, I think Jay-Z might want to seriously consider divorcing her, because she's the one with the heavy baggage of labor trafficking in the relationship to Buffalo Bill. And I see a lot of this right now as her trying to say she has something on him in order to have a bargaining chip for a potential divorce setup. That's what it looks like strategically. And, excuse me, I say all this because, there's no bigger issue in the U.S. right now. I don't care who the president is, frankly. I'm glad that Donald Trump is happy to be president. Is president. But it's important to understand that, to understand the fullness of the situation. That, Jay-Z and Beyonce were at the white parties, that they're essentially felons, they're disgusting perverts, and that they're in the same class as Cersei and Wilhelm, the people I've described to you, and that they're essentially people who just work for Kendrick. And I think it's also important to note that, as far as the public opinion goes, that court, Beyonce, Jay-Z, P. Diddy, all these people are done. You know who else is really done in the court of public opinion, and actually probably just done with Congress, is Christopher Wray, the former head of the FBI. He's decided to abdicate his position. And under a special law, the job will actually go to a man by the name of... Let's see, Kash Patel will not receive the position right away, but it will go to Paul Abate temporarily under the Vacancies Reform Act. I know some people were confused. There was a paid article in Newsweek wondering if Paul Abate would actually steal the position from Kash Patel. That's not possible. What it means is that Paul Abate will be doing the job until Kash Patel goes through the proper appointment process that Donald Trump has already said he wants to appoint Kash Patel to the position. So Kash Patel just simply has to go through the appointment process, which takes a little bit of time, but it doesn't mean that he isn't going to be given the position. It means he has to still go through the appointment process, and somebody else who has been an assistant in the position will perform the duties of the job until that time. Now, does that change anything else I say about the FBI? And the issues with Booz Allen Hamilton and having over 40% employees, meaning it's become a private entity? And why are we still trying to appoint anyone to run it when it's basically a private organization, because it has over 40% of its employees from Booz Allen Hamilton, meaning that by government law it's no longer considered a part of the U.S. government? That's on you to figure out. But what I know is that I do not see any reason for Beyonce to perform in any shows, especially not for the NFL. And I would think that the NFL would be doing their absolute best to find somebody else to perform in their place. And I do not recommend using any of the women or performers or men who took material from me. Please find somebody else. At this point, you'd probably be better off taking 50%, 50 cent, 50%, 50% milk, like whatever. Just find a performer who somehow doesn't have material from me. Like, anybody knows who the performers are who didn't get material from me at some point and aren't guilty of labor trafficking. So, I don't care if you get vitamin C back out or some other performer that's never been around or that nobody even knows of, because it would be better than having another performer out there who's guilty of labor trafficking and tied in with a really disgusting network of perverts from the FSB of Russia. And that's really all there is to say about any of it at all. And this has been another edition of Simply Stated. Thank you.